This is going to be a brand new live stream, and I am going to be doing my listening and reacting to the brand new Avenged Sevenfold album entitled Life is But a Dream. And I've just noticed immediately at the start that there's a bit of a lag issue. I apologize, but please let me know if there's a good sound going on through your systems. And as per usual, I would always check on these things before we begin. So let's have a listen to myself for a bit. So let's have a listen to myself for a bit. There we go. Right, so I am going to be grabbing my wireless Bluetooth headphones, and as you can see from the title of the stream, it's my listening only. So unfortunately, you guys cannot listen to this album through my speakers during this stream. For any Avenged Sevenfold fan, I'm pretty much sure that you guys have already heard the album, but for those who have not, I do recommend, if you want to join in with me during the stream, get a separate tab on your internet of whatever you use, either Firefox or Chrome or whatever. Go to YouTube and look up the playlist for the new Avenged Sevenfold album. And then maybe we can just join in as we listen through the album by ourselves. And the reason why I'm using my headphones is because that I don't want this stream at all to be copyright claimed. So I'm going to get my headphones right now. Bear with me for a few seconds. Right. So here I am with my Bluetooth headphones. I'm going to test the sound once again. There we go. I have not heard a single thing, not a millisecond of this new Avenged Sevenfold album whatsoever. That is until this point, right here, right now in this stream. Zach and Blackwater Rust, hope you guys are doing well. Zach, I've just seen your comment, well, since like a minute or so ago, and thank you very much for coming in. Same goes with you, Blackwater Rust. And to anybody else who's participating in this, I will repeat this one more time. If you want to listen to the album by yourselves, whilst you guys will be watching my reaction, you can feel free to do that. And with that being said, I am going to find the playlist by looking up the band's YouTube channel, finding the album. Here it is. So thank you guys so much, by the way, for being interested enough to come on down to this particular stream. This would probably be the only time that I will be streaming on YouTube with this type of segment for album reactions. And got my drink. Yeah, it's shorter hairdo because I've just had a hair trim, and the stash and beard have been trimmed as well. I would probably like to shave it off. I know that's totally the opposite of what the purpose of this stream is. So, I have always respected Avenged Sevenfold very, very much. I remember the band when I was a teenager, around the time when City of Evil came out, but they've never been one of my favourite bands. However, in my experience with the band through the later eras, and to hear them as musicians, they deserve a lot of the credit They are really talented and gifted musicians. Just because that I'm not a fan of them does not mean that I don't like the band whatsoever. I actually did like some of the tracks from the previous eras, as the aforementioned era of City of Evil to the self-titled. I still remember when Hail to the King came out. But this is my first time listening to a new Avenged Sevenfold album since Hail to the King. I have seen a lot of very difficult responses from a lot of the fans ever since it came out. And since that I am a huge fan of very out there, experimental, really changeable stuff to whatever type of music that I love to listen to, I have no idea what to expect for this. Let's get this started right away. Okay, track number 1, Game Over. All right. A gentle start. Pretty folky. Very mellow introduction already. You can hear Roscoe in the background, hopefully. All right, now the band comes in. Very good mix. Okay. Surprisingly fast vocal performances. Pretty thrashy. Multi-track vocals. In the minor key setting. I'm returning back to the thrash beat. This production is pretty different to what I would usually hear through an Avenged Sevenfold record. It's not too different, but I do like the mix. The bass is really presentable, especially through the fast, shreddy licks and soloing. Vocal harmony throughout. I believe it's through the chorus section. It wouldn't surprise me if the structures are going to be there to take me back to what I would usually hear through an Avenged Sevenfold song. Okay, an instant return back to the beginning change up. Some more finger picking style. Flute. Okay, some piano. I apologize that the awkwardness of the movement is like this. I have no idea what is going on through my mobile. So thank you guys for sticking around. The vocals are so odd on this album. I mean, it's the first song in, and I don't hear anything like so surprising. Not yet, anyway. But they have started things in a huge beginning through something somber and gentle, and then to boost everything right up with the energy. All right, Game Over. I think it's a really solid introduction. It was unexpected to hear M Shadows going into this faster paced vocal performance through the verse sections in this immediate energetic flow. It's like that there's barely enough space to hear a lot of the syllables and the words to carry through this fast tempo in a precise way. Instrumentally, the band sounded pretty tight. Track number 2, which is Mattel, strange words. All right, some more drop detuning. Different effects. All right, a few bit of background piano sounds. I remember watching Avenged Sevenfold years ago at the Birmingham NIA Arena. Nice! Nice, Jamie. So far, nothing really switchable. But they're still sticking to their guns. Okay, what's that? Some kind of phaser vocal effect? Something like a raw sound vocally from Shadows? This gentle bit here, when I'm listening to this, it's kind of prog-ish. And then to return back to their signature sound. The album gets more interesting as it goes on. All right. Have you heard the new Sleep Token album? No, I have not. Alex, sick mullet. Cheers. It's just been trimmed recently. Usually I would have it longer, but I had to be better looking for gigs that I have to do. But anyways, back to the album. There's still a lot of punch and a bit of a hook when the clean vocals come back in. I think the change from their own sound to immediately go into something unexpected is quite immediate. Not abrupt, but immediate. Okay, I'm halfway through the song. Hold the phone. Fast drumming, double bass pedaling. Is that synthesizers I'm hearing? It sounds like it. Alright, this is where I think the beginning progression of the experimentalism starts to take shapes. Slowing the tempo. Alright. There's something really strange about the sound of Shadows' distorted voice. Like when he sings a melody. Alright. Soloing. Sinister Gates. Go on. I really appreciate him as a guitarist. He's really, really good. Just immensely gifted. Easing things right here. Some more ghostly background noises. And now I'm at the final part. The phasing effect on the drums. It's like it's trying to go into this trippy mood. Is it trying to be psychedelic? And you guys know me that I am a big fan of psychedelic music. To those of you who have just joined in, I'm going into this with an open mind because my music taste is incredibly huge, and I used to dig some of the songs from Avenged Sevenfold back in the day, and I'm going to go right into this with so much of the positives as much as I can, but I have no doubt that there's going to be some surprising reactions during the stream so far. Jamie again, I missed the self-titled era. It was around the time when I saw Bullet for My Valentine, Bring Me the Horizon, and Atreyu at the Birmingham NIA, as you just said previously. Yeah, Bullet for My Valentine. I've seen them live. Bring Me the Horizon. Never been a fan, but again, like these guys, I really respect them. Psychedelic music is definitely a mood. Yeah, I am a huge fan, as I've said, because it has a separate vision and a lot of the integrity to take you into some kind of a transcending environment. Okay, the track is pretty solid, just like with Game Over. Not bad of a song. Track number 3, the most popular song on the album, Nobody. Let's jump in. This is through the music video. The rest of them are through the official visualizer videos. This start is kind of like possibly like some buzzy, noisy, Halloweeny type sound. I do like the mix onto the drums. Digging beat. Ah, my neck. Ooh. Now more instruments popping through the speakers. Well, my headphones, obviously, but you know what I mean. Synthesizers, keyboards. I like the rhythm to this song. Nothing too complex. Nothing too much going on at the moment. A few basic elements. I like that the drumming is a main consistent and efficient part of the song so far. Multi-tracked vocals again, harmony. It is crazy from what they used to do in their previous albums and go into this. That I can give a lot of credit for. I think a lot of bands nowadays can do whatever they want, and I think that should happen for any band. That should happen for any band without any without any apology and not listening to what other people would be thinking about this or that band changing direction. Obviously, not all of it can be very successful for the general public and the whole reaction, but I can give Avenged Sevenfold credit here. So far, Nobody is a really interesting song. This is kind of like, to me, a bit of like a Tim Burton adventurous way. The chorus is nice. I do dig it. The melody from the vocals was really solid. I do think Nobody at the moment is actually a very, very consistent song through following the whole progression. If the picture quality went down, I do apologize, guys, but let me know if it has. Alright, now the change of style and key. Ooh! I'm really paying attention to the solos. It's so clean. The distortion is really enjoyable. This has more of like a progressive metal feel. And I am a fan of the genre as well. Nice. All right. Excellent solo work from Sinister Gates. And the other guitarist, I'll have to look it up. I'll look it up in a few seconds. This is really quite atmospheric. Alright, Nobody. I've just finished listening to this song. I do enjoy this one possibly a lot better than the first two tracks. And there's a lot of this connection that I am gravitating with from what the sound of the song is, and it is really, really precise as well. Zaki Vengeance, that's it. Although he's done a lot of the rhythm to this. But I do think this one song in particular is, to me, interesting. There's some digestion that has to be involved for what's going to become for the rest of this record. Track number 4, We Love You. Brooks, to me, by the way, is a really talented drummer. I am intrigued by his own fruition in the sound of this album. Strange vocal editing there. So it was quite a surprising, wacky intro. And now they change it entirely, putting it into more mid-tempo. This is so out there. It's pretty odd with the spoken word bit before the double bass came in afterwards. Reverse effects? And a slow build-up. Okay, now it's returned to the spoken word. It's like that he's talking right in front of you. It's trying to have some suspense. I think that it's a bit awkward. It's quite awkward. Where is this song going? Now it's changed into like some ballad? Minor keys? I have no idea what is going to happen. This is something else. Okay, some fast picking. And now it's continuing on. It's continuing the high over-the-top energy. Some dive bombing, tapping technique. Okay, so now back to the build-up. Increasing speed. Blackwater Rust, I know you don't like the album, but I respect your opinion. It's going and going and going and going. Okay, that robotic sound is very much like a tiny bit of Dragon Force, but just like less than a second. This is a song that is up to the challenge. And I am a fan of bands that can take things up to the challenge to, I would say, try and make the less predictable reaction to any listener. That is why acoustic guitars... Hang on, I've got to pause this. I'm getting distracted. I was going to say, this is why, like, Mr. Bungle have made music in a really crazy and maddening way, but it succeeds. And yes, Mr. Bungle has been one of the band's influences. This is one of Sinister Gator's favourite albums of all time. But I think the way these guys are trying to approach this, I mean, it's not as dominated and as insane as Mr. Bungle, but I can hear the influence. So I wouldn't say that these are like rip-offs or copycats, but it's something pretty close. All right, let's go back to this. I am like a minute and a half left into this song. Back into the balladry part. Slide guitar. Kind of like a country flavor. Low vocal type chanting. The slide playing is, to me, as like a typical bluesy style, it sounds pretty improvised. I don't mind telling you this, but the hums kind of remind me on some stuff like with maybe Pink Floyd's The Wall. All right, that was We Love You. This one is quite all over the place. But I personally say that in a way that I think it's sometimes difficult um to accept every piece because there's so much of this personality that it's like something as schizophrenic. It doesn't make a mind up. I understand and get what they were going for. I think Nobody is a stronger song. Track number 5, Cosmic. For any Avenged Sevenfold fan who's here, let me know which track is your favourite. Right, Cosmic. Let's go. That is a weird sound. It's like some kind of high-pitched harmony through the chords. It's trying to have some kind of haunted, spooky vein. Okay, building up drums, cymbals. The sound is carrying on. Cosmic is probably my favourite, or the God Trilogy songs near the end. Okay. This has a stronger focus. All right. Guitar lead work. Following the melody. This is like on a, I think, power metal-y edge. Actually, the more I'm thinking about the lead and hearing the other sounds, this is reminding me like this is going to be a very bad comparison, but it's kind of prog rocky, but it's like something soft from Porcupine Tree with the shreddiness of the guitar work from Opeth. I know that is like a horrible mix. I've just paused it 2 minutes into the song. The only criticism that I have is not the musicianship, but at some point, I find when M Shadows is having that grit in his vocals, the balance on the mix and the sound of his vocals can be really rough. It's a bit rough to syncopate some things. Okay, carrying on. Sweet reverb. Wonderful. Wonderful skill. It's not too much. It's not so maddening. Very guitar lead work driven. All right. That loud boom. That bass way too overproduced. I don't like that. I don't like that. That exploding instant bang. It's right in your ear hole. It sounds like that the bass was like so loud in your eardrum when you're at a live concert or something. But that was ridiculously too much. Let's move forward. Piano. But that soloing was spectacular. Spectacular skills. But most of this point so far, I can dig this song. I dig it as much as nobody. Castles Made of Sand, that's a Hendrix reference. That surprised me. Some brass instruments. Hmm. I bet something's gonna happen. Maybe another wild change. But I feel this has some more of the follow-up elements to be not as complex, well, just so wacky and wild. What is this wailing siren type sound? And just as I thought, video game kind of synthetic keyboardy tone. Okay, now back to the band. The drumming is really impressive on this part. I like this rhythm section. Yeah, Brooks is doing a really nice job here. A minute and a half left until Cosmic finishes. Vocally, not bad. Following the clean sound, but again, this is heavily affected through, I believe, through a Leslie speaker, not a phaser, probably an extreme usage of the chorus effect. Great replacement drummer, yes. This is actually my first time listening to Avenged Sevenfold with him. I think there was a bit too much of this distortion when everything was placed in all at once in the final parts of the song, that it can be a bit like a screech, like the type of sound. That's a weird style of production. I say weird a lot of times, actually. I got to think of some other word. But this was, I mean, according to the band, as optimistic, but I get that it can be too much for some people. The song is experimental, but I think also very pretty. Yeah, I do like this one, despite that horrid exploded sound after the wonderful soloing. Sedition Through Scorns, welcome back. Welcome to this unexpected stream that I decided to do. I've given a chance to hear the new Avenged Sevenfold album, and I do believe the experimentation the band went for having these songs be as progressively really showcased, pardon me, how far they've changed over the years. I mean, this is like the first time debut in like ever when the band decided to make this shift. Midnight Social. Sorry I'm late to chat. Been here the entire time, but been trying to get my little girl to sleep. No worries, Midnight Social. I hope she'll get some sleep. Thanks for doing this, mate. No worries. You look after your little girl, and do come back if everything at your end's all good. Okay, I quite enjoyed this song. Track number 6, Beautiful Morning. Okay, this is like something maybe alternative sounding. Different rhythm. The produced guitar tone is really consistent. Cool, crunchy sound. The bass is really big on this song. I love this I say clever and perfectly timed drumming pattern after the chorus. Is this a song that sounds like Them Bones by Alice in Chains? I I don't hear a lot of the Alice in Chains similarity, but if that's what you think, then that's fair enough. It's definitely a moody one. I wonder if some of you guys have actually been listening to the album at the same time as me. Okay, halfway through this song, almost. Fading out distortion. Kind of classical-ish presentation. And then some marching drums. This is kind of progressive rocky. By the way, Midnight Social. Also, I apologize for some of the awkward silences here because I've been listening to this with a big focus. Um, I won't be doing an album review on this album, but I will give you my full analysis at the end, just to make things easier, without doing two separate videos for one album, like I would usually do for one video for album reactions in this usual direction, and an album review afterwards. I was very intrigued by this one too. Cosmic is probably one of the strongest songs. But there's not a big moment when I think so far that I love a song. There's so much digestion to fulfill everything to my satisfaction. I've addressed some of these gripes earlier on. I'm not keen on Shadows' projected vocal tone. His cleans sound okay and more listenable, but when he lets it out, trying to add grit, it's not a good mix. Piano finale bits, gently comforting things, including some noisy feedback. Not bad of a song. Beautiful Morning. It's kind of separate with a bit melodrama. It has some kind of theatric presence. All right, so that was Beautiful Morning. I'm halfway through the album. Now we're going to go into Easier, then the trilogy, and then the title track. Comments coming in over time. I do like Game Over. The intro reminded me a lot of System of a Down, and there's sections in the second half of the album where I can detect some Frank Sinatra influences as well. Yeah, I can hear that. I can hear some of that different texture to what I have been hearing so far. I understand. I never thought you would do a reaction stream. Yeah, it's a rare thing. This could probably be the only time that I will be doing something like this. And I thought it would be easier because my laptop lately has been running out of space to make more of these types of videos. So that's why I decided to do this. I do like the guitar work and the drums since they're extremely well in the mix, but the production can be better for the most part. I would agree. Excuse me. I do agree. He had surgery on his vocal cords, I heard, so the harsh vocals sounds weird sometimes. All right, that's understandable. I'm not going to fault him for that. I know that surgery can really take a lot into you. I'm actually surprised that it did get some critical acclaim, like some really high ratings. But I can give the band the biggest amount of respect when they have decided to try it out and then proceed with it. Joe Barresi, he produced this record just like he did with other bands. Okay, so he produced records for others like Judas Priest, Bad Religion, Soundgarden, Slipknot, Queens of the Stone Age, Nine Inch Nails. So this production, I would think it's not one of his best. It's incredibly subpar for the most part. I like that idea that the band decided to have some orchestra to grow this separate separate journey, if you like. It's a divided album that will leave many fans questioning, but I do have a lot of respect for the band to continue onward after they lost the rev during the time Nightmare was released in 2010. Yeah, that I can agree with. All right, guys. So I'm gonna go to the loo. Be right back. I'll be back for like maybe 30 seconds. But thank you very much for sticking with me. Bear with me, guys. Right. Right, so that's more than 30 seconds, but close enough still. So we are now halfway through this record. I'm on to track number 7, which is easier. Let's try this out. What the heck? Nah, not a fan of this start. I'm not a fan of this start. That is horrible sounding effects. Vocally sounds quantized. I'm not impressed by this bit. Some suspense, heavy riffing. I love when a band release an album out of left field that is totally different from everything else they have done. Yeah. And it shows. The riffs on this song can be sludgy. It's got a menace. Okay, now it's back to this terrible vocal sound. The heavy parts, to me, are way more as, I think, better in the strengths. Thankfully, there's a lot of it. I hear a Stratocaster, I think. Heavy riffing, then to something major. Okay. Random noises through the left and right channels. I'm back again. What's your personal favourite Avenged Sevenfold album? To be honest, I have not heard all of the albums because, as I've said earlier, I've never been a fan, so I can't really say that, Zach. I apologise. Okay, it's now back to the vocal thing, as I've just said. I like it when metal bands do major sounds. Yeah, I do too. This is poppy. While there's a lot of that influence into some more Jimmy, bluesy pieces. Yeah, easier is passable. Yeah. The song does have a character, just like the rest of the album. I only did like a lot into the descended heavy moments and the other sounds through the guitars in the background, but the vocals are not really good. I don't like them at all on this song. I remembered I had a strong dislike for Sevenfold the time I caught them live in 2006, but over time I grew an appreciation for them as talented musicians, excuse me, and the respect levels I have for them is real. That's fair enough. Zach, again, one of my favorite Sevenfold songs is Almost Easy. It's really good in my opinion. Yeah, I did like Almost Easy. Favorite Avenged Sevenfold is probably self-titled. Cool pick. Now we're into the trilogy. Track number 8, G. This is very much like Dream Theater, instantly. Yeah, this beginning is exactly like them. And now some drop A guitar tuning. Very focused, in your face spoken words again. Or low vocal notes, I should say. Okay, female vocals. Who's doing them? Tora and Brianna? I like that. I like that sound. There's a better connection to hear more of the clean guitars. Prog metal elements. That's jam-packed. As I said this earlier, I am a prog metal fan, but this is just as instant as it gets. I think some of the lyrics over time through this record can be really on the nose, and at some points they, in my experience, haven't really combined this whole scenario as, to me, as an interesting source. The lyrics are decent on other levels, but depending onto the tonality, there are some strange ones that maybe at some point they don't complete this whole entirety. I like the harmony through the harmony vocals. Shadows sounds not bad here. I understand his vocal surgery, well, throat surgery, but I'm just not keen on his distorted tone. Now, let's go straight into O, Ordinary. All right, this is just as I'm actually speechless. I can't think of any other new words. So from a quite poppy in bits to proggy elements, and then just quick as a flash turn into something like jumpy. Fuck off, fly. This is funky. The keyboards are really pronounced. Hang on. Go back. Did I just hear auto-tune or something? It's kind of like uh, a parody, and I know that some people see as like a Weird Al type of stuff. Is this the Daft Punk song? Yeah, it's kind of like it. No, actually, it's basically like an alike, identical tonality of Daft Punk. Excuse me. Oh, for fuck's sake. The instrumentation is something that I accept. I cannot get through the quantized tuned effect on the vocals. No, no. I can't get into this. There's too much ideas that are exactly the same through flangers to chorus. But I, at the same time, still highly enjoy the acceptance into what the band wanted to create. This is as open as I can really be throughout this whole thing. So there's not a lot of negativity. There are some positives. Actually, I like the beat, but this is very much like this disco-y pop vein from modern artists, like with Daft Punk. I'm nearly finished with this one. Right, now we're into the last track into the trilogy, which is D, which is Death. The penultimate song. And this is instantly like some easy listening, classical, musical, like a play. It's a weird album, mate, but I love that it's weird. Not all of it is a winner. You can have your own debate, as any music fan should have a debate. Okay, this is very much like a Sinatra journey. Some more classic, like tension in this heavy drama for some seconds. What I think is the most acceptable thing about this album is that it is profound, and as I would not say intelligent, but it's full of the separate characteristics. It's a lot to categorize. But yeah, most of this time of this song is like an easy listen balladry. I do understand they have worked a lot throughout this whole creation of the album. Okay, I am nearly at the finale bit of the song. But yeah, this album is something else. There were some multiple reactions, something positive, something negative. But this was actually really fun. It's really fun to dive into a whole new soundscape on increased influences and like a separate painting. Hello, Roscoe. Alright, last track. The title track, Life is But a Dream. Very delicate playing. It was hit or miss. Some of the weird songs work for me. Fair enough. There were some of those moments when I was hearing this album that can strike something and be like right at you, and then it tries to let you stay in one part of the music, and then it goes away and incorporates a lot of different things, which I can give the album respect for. This is a really piano-led piece of music, and it's an instrumental, but I do like this. I love when bands not only incorporate different genres, but make the listener and fans be weirded out, as I can see people debating this as one of the most unexpected albums of 23. You're not wrong about that, Jake. Okay, so it's Sinister that did play the piano on this. Very talented. Fuck off, fly. By the way, the music's still playing. So, Sinister, much respect to you. Really well done for playing the piano in this. I like this piece of music. It has definitely taken things so much down to comfort everything from all the chaos and this I would say grown mentality. It's weird to think this came from the same band that made Waking the Fallen and City of Evil. Yes. It's a nice way to end the album. I agree, actually. This is a track that I enjoy. I enjoy it. It's a giant body of work. The whole record. Okay, I'm 30 seconds left into this whole album. And Midnight Social, if you are still here, I will give you, and the rest of you guys, my full thoughts on this album. Instead of doing an album review in a separate video. Alright, that is the new Avenged Sevenfold album through my eardrums. Life is But a Dream. Aside from the vocal layerings, I think for me the highlight is the musical soundscapes that really changes the overall setting and presentation. They've given to the listener something to not expect. I mean, earlier into the album, mate, it has definitely been so noticeable. And I have been really surprised. I like the peaceful classical piano pieces. Okay, you're still here, Midnight Social. Did your little girl get to sleep properly? Oh, excuse me. I can definitely see how people could hate this album. Yeah, I think... Actually, I'm not listening to anything, so I'm going to put this down. Sorry that some of the curls just look garbage throughout this whole stream. That's besides the point. Okay, with your comment there, I know that it can be very predictable when some people would hate an album that is not into their comfort zone. But at the same time, it does work in either a good way or a bad way, depending on anyone's point of view when they listen to music. And that's what I really appreciate about something like this, because, you know, as I've mentioned earlier, like Mr. Bungle to some other stuff like Zappa and Captain Beefheart, etc., those types of things in music, through the avant-garde to not even complex stuff, can be very different. But it's like a fascinating thing. It's a new period in the way we listen to music. And with Avenged Sevenfold here, they have amplified and been growing an entirely separate piece. Sometimes when it comes to the later tracks, this is something like what Between the Buried and Me can do. Or maybe something like what Periphery had done with the latest album that came out earlier this year. But I can see that it's as a confrontational album that not a lot of the fans would accept, or some Avenged Sevenfold fans would really like it or love the album for those very reasons. From a band who makes so much money, they didn't need to take the risk to make/release this. They could have just rewrote some generic metal. I'm by no means a die-hard Avenged Sevenfold fan. That's fair enough. Alright, final verdict on Life is But a Dream by Avenged Sevenfold. I didn't love the whole album, but it was a blast throughout the entirety of the experience. The production is, at many points, mediocre. The drums to the guitars and even the bass, they were so pronounced and casted through in a really enjoyable space. They have their own parts to match together in a really listenable direction. The vocals from M Shadows can get questionable. The mixing on his voice is really troublesome, and it's not one of the best in this execution. The whole, not risk, but the whole purpose of the album, with the orchestrations to the piano, the flute, the keyboards to the mellotron, it was all a workaholic element. Do I agree with all of these high ratings? As an experimental fan myself, this is not, to me, one of those really strong albums. It's psychedelic in moments. It's poppy in these moments. It's really out there. It is inspired. Some lyrics are good. There's a lot of the philosophy and the theme of existentialism and absurdism, but it's the behavior in its simplicity, like the way they sound. That's what I mean to say. The way they sound with the basic form of lyric writing is sometimes not as matchable to build the same complete quality of what most of this album is. The quality of the music is, as I said before, it's very unapologetic, and there's a lot of the satisfaction that has to be appreciative for what it is. The tracks that I really did like, I actually liked Nobody, Cosmic, I think Beautiful Morning has some pristine lead work. The later tracks from Brooks' strumming was excellent. And the piano work from Sinister Gates on the instrumental track. I don't think that this is one of my favorite albums of the year. It's a lot to be desired, but at the same time, it's an album that has I would say, this this unexpected formula to what I would usually hear through what the band used to do. There's a lot of words that I would personally describe this album. It is technical in places. It's full of the passion that the band wanted to make something like this, and it's aggressive, but you know, there's a jumbled mix to get into every single thing. I mean, I know obviously that this is my first time listening to this album, and yet for an album that is nothing like what these guys have created before, I give Avenged Sevenfold a lot of the appreciation. I still appreciate this band. The negatives were there. The positives were there. The ambition, the journey to this wild ride, it's an A+ for the ideas. The execution is mostly there, but with the drawbacks, summarizes this album with my own view that it's an album that's not, to me, like a strong record. But with that being said, guys, Avenged Sevenfold have definitely been something else with this album. So, I know that this is not like a full in-depth review, but I wanted to finalize my thoughts in that level. Because this is always a very impromptu nature when it comes to doing a live stream. But let me know what you guys think of this record. And for a rating on this, I'm really torn. Because I think that this is an above average record. It's above average. This is not perfection through like everything that I loved. There's elements that I really liked, and there are others through the opposite expression into negativity. Thanks for giving it a try, much appreciated. You're welcome, Midnight Social. I did give it a try, and it's a roller coaster of emotions, but obviously not like in this emotional way, as you already know throughout this stream. But yeah, I quite like the album, and there's just this moment now that if I would try this album again or not. I like this album, but it's not, to me, the best thing they've ever created. It's not obviously like the album of the year. It's an album that is very interesting to talk about, and we'll get a reaction. A reaction out of someone. I like it for what it is and what it tried to do, but definitely not perfect in my opinion. Yeah, I agree with you there, Blackwater Rust. The score that I would give this record, and I'm going to rate this album at the same time through my RachelMusic.com account. As I said, it's above average. So I would give this album on the website I think it would be a 3.5 out of 5. But for my usual rating, I think I would give this album a 7 out of 10. A 7 out of 10. It would have been, I think, at first a 7.5. But I think a 7 is way much more of this acceptable rating. I know there are some fans that would be totally either the opposite and rate it as higher as mine, and that's no problem. And let's hope that there's not going to be some overreaction throughout my own analysis in this whole thing when I listen to the album. I give the band credit to explore their virtuosity and the influences and their source to build this product of an album. It's not the best thing they've ever created. It's not, as I said a few times now, it's not one of my favorite albums of the year. But I enjoyed the record as a whole. So before I wrap this up, guys, I want to see what your views are about this album. This was really fun. This was really fun for me to do something like this. This would be the only time that I would be doing this twist to what I would usually do for an album reactions video. I apologize, by the way, that the movements can be a bit stiff throughout the stream. No idea why it was like that. But at least it's better than the disconnections that YouTube had used to do when I tried to stream through this mobile that I have been using. So anyways, that is a wrap, guys. What are your final thoughts about this new Avenged Sevenfold record? Do you love it? Do you like it? Do you not like it? It's an album which can be just accepted as like a regular, usual album, but it's still a huge appreciation for the band. They decided to change it up. It's like what with Death Heaven did with Infinite Granite, which I give it still a really good favourable acceptance because I love shoegaze, and I voted this as one of my top 5 albums of 21. I didn't care what anyone says because I knew there were some fans that have hated this album without being open-minded. But yeah, ooh, now my Bluetooth headphones have turned the power off. Yeah, but yeah, I still love a lot of this album. But for this one by Avenged Sevenfold, I liked it. I liked the album, but I did not love like so much of it. Yeah, above average rating, 7 out of 10 for me, for Life is But a Dream from these guys. I love the album. I keep coming back to it. I started just liking, now I love it. That's cool, Renee. It's another really interesting thing that some albums can give you an early impression, to not at some points your first satisfaction to like it, but the more you listen to it, it grows on you. And this album is like a no wonder thing that some people would be eventually be playing this album a lot more times and to love it. That happens a lot with me for some albums. But I see that this album is something as confident, but, you know, the flaws weren't there that did distract the enjoyment. But for what it's worth, it was an experience to behold. And with that being said, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I didn't want to make this stream so long anyways, not like the usual 2-hour stream. I am planning to do a live stream in the next week. Maybe either Thursday or Wednesday, maybe Thursday or Wednesday. I'll let you guys know on a community section post and through an announcement video. And I have some albums that I decided to buy for myself throughout this past month nearly, and display them, and we'll hang out once again. Anyway, much love to you guys. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I will keep you all posted for more videos in the near future.